Good morning, team. Thank you for meeting with me today. I thought it would be very important for us to come together to discuss our team and the state of our team as we get ready to head into spring break. There are a number of concerns that have come up, and I think that this is the perfect juncture to have this conversation. So I thank you for your time and your attention today during this PLC. So, as many of you know, as of this July, I would have been married 5 years. And I remember when we were first dating, one of the things that people always said to me was ensure that we have a date night. And I didn't really get the significance of date night until year three, when we had a child and trying to figure out schedules and professions, where we would live, what core values we will raise our child with. That's when the rubber really met the road, and that's where the challenges began. And that's when I knew the significance and the importance of date night. And so it was at that time that I told my husband, you know what? Let's start having a date night. We start getting together on Saturday night. We will call a sitter and we will go spend time together. And it was in those times that I was able to sit and look at him and ask him, was he okay? It was opportunity for us to kind of center, focus on what's most important, and ensure we were on the same page. And so I'm inviting us today to have our own date night. And I want us to start having date night on a regular basis because I don't want us to lose sight of our goals, our focus, and I don't want us to lose sight of our sense of culture and team. And so today, I know that all of you are department heads, you all lead different teams. I'm hoping that we can use this protocol to strengthen not only ourselves and our communication, but that you will be able to use this same protocol to strengthen your own teams. And so today we're going to start with a speed dating event. I don't know if you all ever done speed dating, but basically there's a certain amount of time allotted and you spend time with someone and talk about a certain topic or issue. And then from there, you decide if you want to continue to talk to them more, and you decide if you want to follow up later. So today we're going to go on three speed dates. You're going to have 90 seconds to discuss the following. Speed date number one, you're going to discuss one strength of your team. Speed date number two, you're going to discuss a weakness of your team. And speed date number three, if I were to poll your team, what one word would they use to currently describe your team? So a strength, a weakness, and one word that your teammates would use to describe your team. You'll have 90 seconds each. I'll play the music, and once the music goes off, that'll be your signal to change to the next group. You ready? Okay, let's start with our speed dating. Thank you guys so much. I heard so many wonderful comments and feedback, and I'm really excited about the conversations that got started. So don't forget who you went on your date with. You're going to have opportunity to follow back up with them shortly. So, but there's a quote that I want us to hang our hat on, and that's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, which says, "The most important single ingredient in the formula of success is knowing how to get along with people." And so, as we conclude the speed date event, I want to share with you some of the feedback I shared. And I didn't talk about our team, I talked about a team that I worked with in the past. And so, one of the things that I loved about this team, I spent 10 years with this team. I learned, I grew with this team. One of the things that I loved most was the diversity. I was the millennial on the team. We had boomers, we had busters. There was a little bit of everything on the team. And so, with those different generations came different experiences, different ideas, and different talents and abilities. And so, we all brought that mix to the table, and we were able to use that and leverage it as our strength. And also, we were very gifted. My focus was strategic planning. There was someone who was really good with data and numbers. There was someone else who was really good with fostering strong relationships with the community. And then there was someone who had been there 45 years that was able to tell us a lot about the community, how it had changed, families that helped to build the organization. And so we all worked together in concert to ensure that the goals of the organization they should move forward. And the thing that I will never forget about this team is that I learned how to let the best idea win. So we would come together with all of our different experiences and all of our different ideas, and we would share what we thought was the best outcome or thing for the team. And from there, we will move forward. Now, we would choose someone's idea and we would let the best idea win. We would not fall out, there would not be a problem between us because we knew that at the end of the day, we were making the best decision for the team. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of times we have seen breakdowns on our own teams because people get hurt and offended because they've taken the work personal. And it's difficult not to take the work personal, but I want us to remember that at the end of the day, our goal, our focus is to ensure that students are learning, that teachers are growing, and that we come out of IR. And we can't get bogged down by the little things. And we can't get offended if our idea does not win. We need to be able to leave from the table and go and do the work that we're here to do. Some weaknesses quickly about the team I used to be on. There wasn't always equity of voice because I was the youngest. Sometimes it was viewed that I didn't have much to offer. And so I see that even on our teams. We have our newer members of the team. We have people that are not necessarily new to education, but new to our campus. And sometimes their voice gets hushed. Accountability. Because we all had areas that we ran in and focused on, like special education, IAT, dual language, we all had areas that we focused on. There was no overall accountability. There was no one overseeing the work and the bringing of the work together. So that was a weakness. And then with that, sometimes our styles clash. I used to enjoy reaching out to people by email and by text. And there were other people on the team who thought that that was very impersonal, and so that we should reach out by phone or in person. But the one word that I think any of those members of that team would use to describe our team, and that was family. We were a family. And I want us to hold on to that too, so that you know that as we move forward, that regardless as to what happens, and I know we're under a lot of pressure, and I know there are a lot of things going on with our campus, but regardless as to what happens, we're a family. And we're united by this one thing. We want to get our school out of IR. We want Dogan to be here next year. And we want to ensure that students are successful. So I have about 8 items that I want to kind of go over for us to focus on and to hold on to. And the first thing is do not take people for granted. Do not take people for granted. We have some folks that are willing to go the mile, they're willing to go above and beyond, and we depend on them and we count on them, but we don't always appreciate them. And I think, especially at this juncture in the school year, it's going to be important for us to recognize and appreciate those folks who have gone the extra mile, who have done what we have asked them to do, plus more. We have a very difficult population of students, and there are some teachers that have stayed after school. There are some aides who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, and we need to recognize them. Today, I picked up brownies for the special education team because they've been running after school tutorials because our teachers are tired. And so I want to appreciate them. And it may not always be tangible. It may just simply be a thank you, a text, a handwritten note. I want us to focus more on appreciating those teachers and that staff that comes through and is there for us. Secondly, we need to possess a difference maker mindset. A difference maker mindset. Um, we need to make sure that students and teachers know that their efforts are recognized and we can see the bigger picture. So if you're working hard together and if you're making strides, like in the fourth grade, we've seen students go from reading at 20% to reading at 40%. The growth has been tremendous. However, from the district standpoint, it may appear that they're still not doing well. But we want to have a difference maker mindset. We want them to know that we see their hard work and we see the big picture. We see the end result, which is success. But we need to continue to remind not only our teachers and students, but our parents that we're working hard to make a difference and we're going to all work together as a team to ensure we're successful. The third thing, I really want us to focus on initiating movement towards people. Now, there are people that are still sitting on the bench, that have ideas, that have strengths, that we have not done a great job of tapping into. We have not always reached out to those teachers that possess other gifts and other talents. I was here after school the other day, and there was a teacher in the copy room, and Miss Jackson and I said to her, Miss Jackson, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this bulletin board, for our TEA visit, and she gave me a plethora of ideas. And I said, wow, I didn't know that was something that you were interested in. And she said, oh, I'm very creative. I do artistic design. I do interior design for friends in my house. And she showed pictures of our home. And I said, girl, we need to know things like that. And so she was really happy that I recognized that. And now she's going to do the bulletin boards until the end of the school year. But I felt bad that I had not paid attention and that I did not know that about her, because we can use her help as well. So those people that are not doing anything, that are not inspired to take part, because we do a lot of generalization, we do a lot of group talk, but the one-on-ones have to take place so we can know how we can all work together to be effective. Fourth, we have to search for common ground. Even when we have differences, even when we may fall out, we need to come back together for the good of the students. And I know that there was an incident with the third grade team that we've all thoroughly discussed, and we want to ensure that the third grade team knows that at the end of the day, whether students continue to struggle in math or not, that the focus is ensuring that all students are successful. So I know the reading teachers were not happy about us taking some of their time to support students in math, but however, that is where the biggest learning gap was. And maybe we didn't do a good job with communicating why we made that change. And so I would definitely accept the blame for not sitting down with the whole team. But we want to make sure that we're clear and intentional about our conversations and that we have buy-in from everyone. Recognize and respect differences. We have a very diverse team, and we need to make sure that we are open to that diversity. I think we've done a great job so far recognizing African American History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, and so we want to make sure that as we move forward, there are a couple other cultural days and special events that are coming up that we want to take part in and make them just as important and just as special. There are teachers who have worked in the armed services and have a myriad of outside experiences that we want to highlight and recognize because, again, it's about culture and about value. Learn the keys to others' lives. And that comes along with spending time with teachers, like I shared about Miss Jackson. Had I spent a little more time with her, had I slowed down in the hall a little bit more, I may have known more about the fact that she is an artistic designer. And I encourage you to do that. Communicate from the heart. We want to ensure that when we're talking to teachers and we're talking to students, that we're looking them in their eyes and that we're hearing them and seeing them. And I know we have heard feedback about the fact that we don't hear and we don't see. And I want us in this last stretch to ensure that we're actually being intentional about hearing and seeing, which is why we're having this date night. Okay. And number eight, we want to share our common experiences. If you all went to the same university, if you all have children, if you all live on the same side of town, share that and use that as a bridge to connect with our teammates. Okay. So one of the other things that I want to ensure that we do is the personality test. And I have given you the personality test in your folders. And we talked a lot about that, but I think that we never digged into it and looked at it for its value. And so I want you to do 16 personalities tests. You can go online and complete it. And then from that test, I want us to identify where our team members fall as it relates to that scale. And then we'll talk more about that. But as we close out today, think about your team, think about the members of your team, think about the areas where you have strength, think about the areas where there's weakness, and we need to come together to figure out how we can use our strength to balance out our weaknesses and come together as a team. I thank you for your time and attention. We'll pick up with part two of this POC on next week. Please, as I said, complete the 16 personalities task, as well as begin to kind of outline the strengths and weaknesses of your team so that we can move forward with fidelity. Have a great afternoon.